Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to today's episode of the Xrad Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xander Network. I'm Xander Gibb.
And I'm Swoop.
On today's show, the hottest of topics, Chet Martin will be calling in from Freedom on Deck, and in part two, David Weissman joins us. More to come in a mere moment. Welcome back to the show, Swoop. How is the world with you, sir?
Well, thank you. The world is good, and I'm out here in sunny Southern California, and I'm hanging out across the street from Disneyland, and things are good today, man. It's been a great week. How you doing?
I am doing good. I'm glad it's going to be the weekend tomorrow, because it's been a very long week. I have a few very early starts to my week. So one of those was today. So I tend to kind of look forward to the weekend, because I call Saturday I call sleep day, and Sunday I kind of call sleep day as well too, because I actually get to sleep on those days.
Well, good for you, man. It's good. It's good to be able to get some rest, and after a long week. You don't want to sleep the whole day away. You want to enjoy your day off too.
No, for sure. No, I don't sleep the whole day. I don't know. As I get older, I kind of need less sleep. I'm 35 now, so But I can't sleep past 10 a.m. Anything beyond that, and I'm done. It's kind of weird. Even if I go to bed late, I can't sleep in past 10 a.m. But I know a lot of people who are still up at 5 and 6 in the morning during the weekend, but not me. Can't do that.
Yeah, I get up early no matter what. If I could sleep till 10 o'clock, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get to do it very often, and even sometimes when I do, I always feel bad because there's other things that I could be doing. Because you know yourself, when you have a radio show, there is always something to do. If it's not planning for the next week for guests, it's writing scripts for the show, etc., etc. There's always something to be doing. And I know you know exactly where I come from, because you have a job as well, like myself. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and it's funny when you said that, because a lot of people think when you do the show, you just turn it on and start talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. They forget about the book of the guests, read the books, keeping up on current events.
Yes.
It's a lot of stuff that goes into it,
Yeah, there really is, and I think that one of the biggest parts of it that people really don't fully appreciate is the preparation, because they just see, when you sign on looking really sharp, and your hair being right, etc., etc., and that's what they see. So they don't see all of the forethought that goes into it. I mean, even before the show tonight, I had to change the story several times because, we like to work with what is trending. And so if some things move up to the top of the trending list, we kind of go with that. because it's imperative to do so. And it's always interesting, like after a show, people are like, oh, Zan, why didn't you talk about this? Or why didn't you talk about that. But it's hard to please everybody. But also, you've got to kind of go with your best judgment.
Exactly. And you know what? Because of the world we live in, and the time allotted, you're not going to please everybody. But yeah, we try to hit the best stories, and somebody else is going to feel left out. But don't take it personal.
No, absolutely. There's no room for taking it personal. Personally, on this show, I wanted to say hello to everybody in the live feed. Welcome to Gina. I hope you got your iPad sorted out. Welcome to Stella. Hey to Chris. Hey to Zell. Hey to where are we? Hey to Angela. Hey to I can't see. Sometimes you've got to skim past the people you've already said hello to. Hey to Connie. Welcome. Hope you are good. Who else have we got in there? Welcome to all of the early birds. It is a pleasure to have you. And if you are just watching, feel free to come and join us in the live feed. You don't have to agree, but you do have to, be nice. Because if you're not nice, you're going to have to deal with me. Oh, yes, sirree. So let's jump into the first story, which really was kind of trending, as it were, today. And it upset me. It made me sad that this happened today. So an attacker with an automatic weapon opened fire on police in Paris on the iconic Champs-Élysées today, killing one police officer and seriously wounding 2 others before police shot and killed the perpetrator. The Islamic State quickly claimed responsibility for the attack. Paris police spokesperson Johanna Primavera said the attacker targeted the officers guarding the area near the Franklin Roosevelt subway station at the center of the sparkling shopping boulevard, popular with tourists. She also said he appeared to be acting alone. Police and soldiers sealed off the area, ordering tourists back into hotels and blocking people from approaching the scene. Now, the attack came 3 days before the first round of balloting in France's 10th presidential election. Security has been especially high since Tuesday, when police said they thwarted a terror attack, arresting 2 men. Now, the Paris prosecutor's office said counterterrorism investigators are involved in the probe of Thursday's attack. The claim of responsibility several hours after the attack came unusually swiftly for the Islamic State group, which has been losing territory in Iraq and Syria. In a statement from its Armak news agency, the group gave a pseudonym for the shooter, Abu, and I'm not going to name him, Asshole, that's your name, indicating he was Belgian. A witness identified only as Inez told French television, wish these things wouldn't keep popping up on my screen, that she heard a shooting and saw a man's body on the ground before police quickly evacuated the area where she works. A French television station hosting a televised event with 11 candidates running for president briefly interrupted its broadcast to report the shootings. Now, this is just, it was London a few, less than a couple of weeks ago. And to me, it's just really, it's sad. And I'm sad that we keep getting these things going on in our world.
Well, yeah, and it's going to keep going on until we defeat these people. They are on a mission. They're on a mission to disrupt and destroy and kill. And until we are able to eliminate them, this is going to continue to go on. I think we fight them and we fight them hard. And these things should probably, they will never, I don't know if they'll ever go away at the pace that they're going, but I think you will see where you get some things to slow down, and we'll just have to stay vigilant, and people have to stay observant. And these attacks are cowardly, and they always attack people in areas where people aren't really expecting it. They're not on the battlefield; they're making every place a battlefield. And until we eliminate them, we're going to have these things constantly pop up every so often.
Absolutely, and I think it's imperative to be vigilant. But one of the things I wanted to kind of examine a little bit is I wonder why they keep attacking police officers. You know, is it that police officers are some symbol of authority? You know, our brave men and women of the police force go out every day and put their lives at risk. You know, you yourself used to be a police officer. It really bothers me when I hear this. You know, these are just people that are minding their own business, doing their job, trying to keep us safe. And it's just a huge concern to me. You know, I have police officers in my family, and it's frankly worrying.
Well, it's a psychological move. If you're taking out police officers, and then the average citizen is more fearful, because if they can get the police, they can get me. You know, I'm not armed. I'm walking down the street, you know, grocery shopping or doing whatever I do. And you know, so how am I to be safe? And if they think that's the way to get people to their cause, maybe that's why they're doing it. But I think it is psychological, and it's you know, it's an authority figure, and it's who people look to for protection. And if you're taking out the protectors, then who's going to protect you?
Right. Absolutely. You know, the thing that kind of occurs to me is that, you know, these people have to be stopped. And, you know, we've throughout the ages there have been terrorists. You know, it's just it's a more popular term nowadays to actually call these people terrorists. You know, I call them cowards. But, you know, in the 70s and 80s, in the UK, there were groups like the IRA that were bombing places, etc., to get their message across. But for me, the minute that you try and kill someone or want to kill someone to get your message across, I don't want to listen. No matter how strongly you feel about why you've done something, when you've actually killed someone, then I'm not interested, you know?
That's true. But, you know, some people use it as a recruiting tool. They have, you know, back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, didn't have social media the way it is. So they've been successful recruiting people, and these people, they refer to as lone wolves. Go out and do things. They don't have to train them on the battlefield or on their own turf. They can fill their heads with stuff via the computer. So, you know, we have to be much more diligent. But you're right. Once you start killing people as a way to get your point across, a lot of people are turned off about it, you know, and it doesn't really seem like it should work, but for some reason it does work with a small amount of people.
I mean, I can't have any respect for any of these people, but if before they started the killing, they actually tried to put their point across and said what their issue was. But the thing with ISIS, you know, it's actually about fear and control. And the the ideology that, you know, the only religion that should be in the world is Islam, and for me, it's a concern, because there are some peaceable Muslims out there, whatever people, you know, might think, and I think that they unfortunately get tarred with the same brush during this process.
Well, yeah, and that always happens regardless of, you know, what the situation is. It's the way society works sometimes, and people are ignorant at times. You know, whether it's Muslims or blacks or Irishmen or Catholics or whatever, you know, it's like when you have a group of people that are involved in things, the entire the larger form of the group gets tarred with the same thing. You know, I have a friend who's a friend of mine who's a priest, but you know, he still hear things about, you know, priests molest little boys, and you know, he's a good guy, and he does what he does because he believes in it and truly believes that that's the right thing to do, and it's his religion. So, but you know, when it happens all the time, is, you know, people get painted with the same brush as the people who are causing all the criminal activity. Absolutely,
and I think it is a concern, but I think it's imperative not to generalize about any particular group. You know, I often get messages on my website because, you know, we've done things about the Black Lives Matter movement, telling me I'm a racist, asking me about my white privilege. I still can't find my white privilege. If you have found my white privilege, could you please send it back to me, because I really would like to identify that and do something with it.
Well, you want to take full advantage of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally would. If I could find out exactly where my white privilege was, and what it was all about, I would totally take advantage of it. But the thing is that I'm I'm a unicorn, but I'm also transracial. So although I look blight, that's a mixture between black and white, blight. That's what I am. Although I look white, I'm actually black. So I identify as black because I'm transracial. Oh God. Can I just say, for anybody in the live feed, if you are losing the feed, it's actually nothing to do with the show. It's actually to do with either your wireless router or what you're watching the show on. So whether that might be your iPad or your iPhone. So what you need to do is make sure you downloaded the latest version of Facebook and restart your wireless router. I'm so sorry about that. No, Connie, it was a joke about being transracial. I'm white. I'm proud to be white. I have no white guilt. The only thing I am guilty about is the fact that I ate an extra piece of chicken tonight. But don't tell my dietitian about that. I want to jump into another story so that we can get another one in before Chet calls in. So according to phone records, two men were in Little Rock, Arkansas, with congressional subpoenas and instructions to search the private residence attached to the William Jefferson Clinton Presidential Library. The two investigators, whose identities will remain classified until it can be confirmed foul play was involved, were employees of the federal government under private contract to investigate the Clintons. Dun, dun, dun. So the specifics of what they were looking for is also classified, but their vehicle, a Ford Blue Escape, was found in a rest area just outside of town with the keys in the ignition. According to sources, Jeff Sessions' Department of Justice assigned the special investigators to the case in order to keep it out of the hands of the FBI, which he believes may have become compromised. Now in March, Trey Gowdy fought back tears in Congress as he put the elite pedophile ring on notice, warning that anyone who dares to interfere with his child exploitation investigation will be forced to publicly explain why they are obstructing it. Now Gowdy delivered an emotional charged speech on the first day back at Congress, discussing child sex abuse cases and the mental images that have been scarred on his brain after seeing material related to the investigation into the pedophile rings that have infiltrated Washington, D.C. Addressing a detective charged with heading the investigation, Gowdy said, "I want you to give me a list of providers that are giving you a hard time. We're going to have another hearing here. We are going to have them come and publicly explain why they are having a hard time complying with law enforcement in child exploitation and child abuse cases. My guess is that it will be a very tough public explanation for them. So give me the names and the providers that you are having a hard time with, and I may not be able to make them stop doing it, but I can make them come and explain why they're doing it. And my guess is they don't want to do that." So this is alarming about how many people surrounding investigations to do with the Clintons just disappear.
Well, yeah, I've heard these stories for so many years, and you wonder about them. It's obviously not urban legend. People have been associated with them that died. We all die, I get that. People have disappeared. People have been found in unusual circumstances leading up to their deaths. It's like we were talking about another story before we went on this show, and I said sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
You wonder. You gotta wonder. That's all I can say is you gotta wonder. I don't want to end up on that list, so.
No.
I'm not anything.
I remember saying during the election, if I'm ever found in suspicious circumstances, now wait, let me finish before you run off on a tangent. If I'm ever found in suspicious circumstances and it looks like I've committed suicide, this is while I was, verbally battering Hillary Clinton, it is not the case, and demand a full investigation.
Absolutely.
And I was only half joking. Because, people did say to me, aren't you afraid of tackling Hillary Clinton publicly? And to be honest, I wasn't. But an alarm bell did kind of ring a little bit in the back of my mind. It was roasted chicken, Connie, to answer your question. And so there is an element of this with regards to anything surrounding the Clintons, and that is a worry. But what I do have to question is, how can this couple have gotten away with so much for so long? And I'm convinced that it's not going to take a lot. It just needs a few cards to topple before this all comes rushing down around them.
A lot of times with stuff that has to do with government and people in the political arenas, lots of times it all comes crashing down after they're long gone. So they might be playing the long game here. They might figure that when it does come down around them, the only lasting Clinton is Chelsea. So you just never know. But it could come crumbling down around them. But they're up there in age now. And we've seen as Americans take pity on people who are elderly who've committed crimes. They don't seem to want to put them in prison. They don't seem to want to keep them in prison. So they might have gotten away with a lot and might continue to.
Well, I mean, I know they're priming Chelsea for public life. I mean, you should see her on social media. She thinks she's this big celebrity. And I see how many people kind of bring her to, she says how much she cares for little orphan children. And I'm one of the people that says to her, wait a minute, you care for little orphan children. What about the Haitian ones who your mother robbed so she could pay for your frickin' wedding? Hey, Sharon. Hey, Dave, welcome. It's a worry for me because, we know all these things that they've done. And here's the thing. The law of averages says to me that maybe some of the things that people say about her are not true. But the law of averages tells me that I'm sure quite a lot of it is true about the things that she's supposed to have done. But the problem is, for me, is that why can no one ever prove it? Or why does no one ever want to prove it? Because you can't tell me that the FBI investigation was fair. And you can't tell me that it was anything but corrupt. And the guy, what's his name? The FBI guy whose name escapes me. Sorry?
Was it Comey?
Yeah, Comey. He should be gone. There is no way he should still be working in the FBI. And I don't doubt that his family were threatened. I don't doubt that Loretta Lynch's family were threatened. Yeah, we reckon you were talking about grandchildren on the airplane bill, on the tarmac. Yeah, but how much were you threatening her grandchildren? It's a huge concern for me that this goes on in America, because we're supposed to be battling corruption and fighting corruption, and those at the top seem to get away with it so often, and it's a worry.
Well, yeah, when you achieve those levels and you get to those points, positions, it's a lot of people, depending on who they are deep inside or who they are, as a person, easily become corrupt, and they start wielding power that they never thought they'd have, and it's lustful. They're lust after that kind of power, and they wield it any way they can, whenever they feel like it.
What is it they say? Is it total power corrupts totally, or something? Some words to that effect. I'm guessing this is Chet. about his experiences this week. So as some of you know, I'm someone who has been banned from Facebook before. Watch the feed freeze when I say this. For saying the word faggot. And as an openly gay man living in the United States, I should be able to call myself exactly what I like. So I've got Chet Martin on the line, who's one of the hosts of Freedom on Deck, who was banned from Facebook this week. Not for 24 hours, not even for 48 hours, but for a month. So what heinous crime did he commit to warrant that? Welcome back to the show, Chet. How is the world with you, apart from being frickin' banned from Facebook?
You know what, Xander? It's really interesting. I'm watching you on the live feed, and I can't comment. So, first of all, I want to tell Swoop, thank you for your service, sir. I did not know that you were an ex-police officer. Thank you for your service.
Well, thanks, Chad. It was a pleasure to serve.
You know, Xander, it's the brown shirts of our time, isn't it? It's the Bolsheviks and the shootings of the citizens in the back of the head if they don't agree with you. And I mean,
Right.
I'm using that loosely, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
So what Facebook had alerted me to was this was my third time and that I'd be banned for a month because I had violated their laws 3 times. You count them 3. Every time that I violated supposedly their laws, I've never used foul language. I've never given a fake story, fake news, as they would call it. And I've never been offensive in a racial matter or anything like that. What had happened this time was I posted a story about black supremacist from Fresno, Kalai Mohammed, if I'm saying that name right, who had shot 3 white males this past week and was quoted as saying Allahu Akbar when he was arrested. Now, in the story that I posted from Breitbart, by the way, I didn't say anything that was negative. In the story, it had shown still screenshots of his Facebook account that had memes of what they would call the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a hate-filled meme of Louis Farrakhan, and birthday wishes to Michelle Obama. Now, all I did was repost the story. Of course I put my own header, and I put it to Freedom on Deck's Facebook page. There's no nasty language. Like I said, it was all in what I would consider Facebook standards.
Right.
And the next day, I had gotten the message that I was not welcome on Facebook for 30 days. So.
Right. So let me ask you this. You didn't actually screenshot the pictures yourself. They were from an article that was in Breitbart.
Correct.
So basically, Facebook has penalized you for sharing an article that was on Breitbart, essentially.
Correct. Here's what I do on Freedom on Deck through our Facebook, Xander. I'll post the article on our Facebook, and then I'll share it. Like you do with your show. I'll share it to Americans for Trump, or I'll share it. You know what I'm talking about? All these different pages.
Right.
Now I have these rival groups where liberals and conservatives kind of go back and forth. I know the person that reported this post, and all it took was a report. And I think the fact that in my header I used Islam in the header and called this guy out. Listen, this guy said Allahu Akbar after he had shot these individuals. To act like this man wasn't doing it out of his beliefs in Islam is totally bogus.
Right.
And for me to get banned for something like that, for telling the truth, I'm starting to think that in the next couple of years we're all going to be taken off Facebook, or we're going to be, very watered down.
Right. I mean, whether people think it's a conspiracy theory or not, I am living testimony to the fact that social media is biased against conservatives, because there have been many occasions when I've been critical of a Democrat politician. I never swear at them. I tell them what I think in a very polite and eloquent way, but I've been penalized for that, and that really bothers me. But what that tells me is that social media is in the pockets of the Democrats, and that's a concern for me. I mean, I know a lot of people listen to the Xrad show, so if you have a lot of money out there, why don't you set up a social media platform for conservatives, where we don't get this crap, where we don't get deleted and banned and blocked for sharing stories that are detrimental to Democrats, and where I can talk about myself in a vernacular that I choose. So if you are out there and you've got a few bucks to spare, get your butt into gear and make a social platform just for conservatives. Now, I know myself that there's very little appeals process with Facebook, is there?
Yeah, no, I had done that. I've done that the 3 times that it's happened to me. I've done it each time, and it doesn't really work because it's a pain in the ass. Excuse my language. You know, I'm not going to go through it. I'll sit through the 30 days. I don't know what's going to happen next time because I'm not going to stop putting the truth out there.
Right.
It's not my style. You know, Freedom on Deck does not do that. There's a reason we're called Freedom on Deck. You know, liberty's about and freedom's on deck. And I'm not going to stop putting the truth out there. If they think that's going to ease me, I'll find something else.
Right.
I'll find something else. But I am very aggravated. If you can't tell by the tone of my voice, usually I'm actually screaming on your show. Right now I'm very melancholy.
Right.
I'm trying to absorb all this because I feel like we're being, like I said, watered down. And I feel like it's going to get worse and worse. I don't know where it's going. Social media is being monitored, like we know.
Yeah.
That Barack Obama had given a lot of power to the EU to monitor, and people might laugh about it. It is true that they're monitoring what we're doing on social media. Look at over in Germany. When you try to put a negative post about a Muslim, they take away all your rights. They
Right.
take away everything you have on social media. Is that coming to America?
I think it's already here.
Please, Mr. Trump, please take care of this.
Right. I think it's already here and has been for some time. The concern for me that any commentary that is correct and true should be possible to share on a social media platform, because if it's not true, then yeah, they should be saying, hey, well, what is this? But let's face it doesn't stop the Democrats spouting hate about Donald Trump 24/7. You know, if you're only going to look at Twitter and see the crap that people out there, I actually saw someone today that really, in real terms, what they were saying, I'm not going to repeat it, but it was slanderous. And it bothers me that they will ban someone like you or I for speaking the truth, but they'll let someone say whatever they want about the president. So either they've got to monitor everything or monitor nothing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, the bottom line is it's being taken over by groups like George Soros and Media Matters. They even have Snopes looking at us and all these false prophets of the internet world that are supposed to tell you what real news is. Well, what's real news? I mean, they don't report on anything that's real anyway. And if we show any amount of realness
Right.
in what they would call our right-wing news feeds that we're shoving down the American people's throats, well, we're not out there on the streets beating everybody down like Antifa and these left-wing promulgated
Right.
groups that are out there that, you know, it baffles my mind that it's come this far.
Me
and
too.
I can't say what I want. I
Yeah, but
when are they going to take it away
right,
for life?
absolutely.
That's the question.
I have to tell you this very close the segment, but apparently on social media you don't have the right of free speech because it's a private entity. We have to stop it there because our next guest is calling him. But I'd love to discuss this further with you some point in the future. But tell people they can find you, Chet. Obviously not on Facebook for the next 30 days, but when they can listen to your show.
Okay, well, just go to freedomondeck.com and you can either like us on Facebook or phone 3 to 5. It's going to be on 949newsnow.com. That's FM radio, and that's WJJF. Come and listen.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Chet. I hope they let you back on as soon as possible. Have a great week, sir, and we will see you on Sunday for your show.
Thanks, Chuck. Keep up the good fight, man.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was Chet Martin from Freedom on Debt. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you check him out on Facebook and listen to the show on Sunday. David will be calling in any second. David Weissman, who is our guest. He is a writer and commentator with the Reactionary Times and the Times of Israel. And we welcome him back to the show now. Hey, David, how is the world with you, sir?
Hey, it's going good. How are you?
I am wonderful. You're live with myself and Swoop. I forgot your name then, Swoop.
Hey, brother.
Hey, Spook, how's it going?
Good, brother.
Okay, I always wait for the conversation to end, and because I never want to rush it, but then when I wait, it ends. So it's like, it's like Murphy's Law. So I want to jump right in to the conversation, David. So you shared an article today in which you were a little miffed with the New York Times. Am I right?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
So tell us why, and tell us what they did this time to piss you off, because the New York Times pisses everybody off lately.
That is absolutely true. All the fake news they do with Donald Trump. But the reason why I am especially pissed off is they had an article recently published by a Palestinian prisoner in Israel talking about their quote-unquote Palestinian cause. But the thing is, they didn't realize, one, he is a terrorist. In fact, he's a well-known terrorist in Israel. For over 40 years, he has done a lot to harm Israelis, murder Israelis. He was actually part of the Second Intifada. So they failed to do an actual check on why this guy is in jail. And of course, when they found out, they still get the article up. So yeah, I'm pretty pissed off. And that's why I wrote the article. And the thing is, in this article from his, this is why Israel keeps losing at the propaganda war, the media war, because all this propaganda from terrorists, misleading the public that thinking that Israel is this evil empire, which
Right.
is far from the truth.
But we've known for some time that Palestine has Hamas has a great PR team. Maybe Israel needs to do the same. Maybe they need to hire great PR people, because what Hamas does is every time there's an incident, they put such a spin on it that Israel is the devil. Israel is so bad. So they fling a bomb over into Israel, and then as soon as Israel retaliates, Palestine shows you 50 pictures of dead children. And I'm not advocating that any dead children, regardless of their nationality, is okay, but this is what Palestine does, and the world goes, "Oh, Israel are such bastards!" And to me, that's not fair, because if you're measuring who's right and who's wrong in this situation by how many pictures of dead children they can show, that's not real to me.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's funny, or not really funny, but the sad thing about a lot of these pictures of dead children are from the Syrian war. Not even at all with Gaza or anyone from the West Bank area, quote unquote. But yeah, Israel needs to do a lot better in the media war, because we're losing. I mean, the whole world is like eyes on Israel I mean, I mentioned the other day, United Nations is so focused on Israel, but why are they ignoring the fact that, chemical weapons have been dropped on innocent children in this area?
Right.
I mean, what's wrong with the world today?
Right, exactly. And it's interesting how Syria is trying to put a spin on it, that they didn't do it and it was a tool of propaganda. But it's very hard to know what to believe, but when you've been killing your own people for 6 years, and then calling them rebels for daring to object, there's a level of concern there for me. What do you make of this, Swoop?
Well, regarding the propaganda war, it doesn't really matter what Israel puts out because you have so many of these publications that are never going to print Israel's side of the issue. They're always going to print the Hamas side, and they're always going to make these things look worse for Israel. So that's a battle that's going to be ongoing and has been ongoing, and it will continue to be ongoing until Israel's allies step up their game and support them more verbally and more consistently, where people around the globe can start to hear that these things that they're being fed are not necessarily true.
But isn't there an onus on individuals to kind of to check out what is being said? Because the thing is that you have to be very stupid to believe all of these things all of the time.
Well, they're supposed to, but we've seen reports and news articles consistently that are wrong or untrue or fake. So, regardless of what they're supposed to do, they're just not doing it.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is a concern. But what are Israel doing about the fake news and the distortions, David?
Well, Israel, they're trying to win the hearts and minds of countries. Prime Minister Netanyahu is constantly on the road, traveling, meeting with leaders, telling you, here's what's really going on in Israel, and it doesn't seem to be enough. I mean, some of the leaders get it, some of them don't, especially when they still say they support a two-state solution. But he's done all that he can, but we need to step up the media game.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. And the bad thing about it, too, is a lot of media, there's fake news in Israel, believe it or not. Not just Hollywood. We have a liberal problem. And they tend, just like in America, for some odd reason, they tend to sympathize terrorism.
Absolutely.
It's like liberalism seems to be contagious. I just don't get it, especially seeing all this stuff here. They still somehow choose to believe the false narrative over, facts over what's really going on, and I don't get it. And the conservative Jews need to start speaking more and start debating more. You know what? We have a right to be heard what's going on, and nobody's really doing that here.
Right. And I think, I had a very public battle a couple of years ago with the British singer Annie Lennox, who was married to an Israeli guy and divorced him, and after that was very anti-Israel. So I challenged her publicly, and she had, social media berate me for doing this, because she was pro-Palestine because of her bad experience with her Israeli husband. And again, that's not good enough reason for you to be pro-Palestine over Israel. But there are far too many celebrities that are getting in on these arguments without enough factual information and just stuff that they've gleaned from other people. Because let's face it, there are so many people out there that share the watered down perceptions of others as their own. And I challenge people. I'm like, so why do you think that? And if all you say is because I do, because you do is not a good enough answer. You need to be able to substantiate your opinions. Because if you can't substantiate your opinions, they're not really yours, are they?
Exactly. And Roger Waters, he's one of the biggest idiots of this cause, which is part of BDS. a movement that is trying to boycott Israel products, trying to persuade people from performing in Israel.
Right.
Roger Waters, the moron from Pink Floyd. But yeah, it's ridiculous, and they really have no justification, and that is why this pisses me off with the New York Times issue. They are almost like glorifying terrorism.
Right.
By giving this when you become a terrorist, when you kill people, in the Rambam, it states, when you save a life and save the world, when you kill a life and kill the world. And these terrorists are basically killing the world, and the New York Times are giving them a platform to speak on, or to write about, and
right.
misleading the public. And then more people will see that. More terrorists will see that. You're like, oh wow, and more incitement, more terrorists, and it'll be an ongoing thing.
Right. Now, the interesting thing about you, David, and I find this with a lot of people I know that live in Israel, is that they don't blame the Palestinians for this per se, because basically they don't really want Hamas either, do they?
No. Then Hamas and Fatah are playing a dirty game in politics, and I blame them. I mean, if your child was brought up in this world, that's really all you're going to know. Just like ISIS, how ISIS trains children. I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu said it perfectly. Hamas, Fatah, ISIS are different branches, but they belong in the same tree.
Right. Absolutely. I think that it's imperative to actually be aware of the fact that, although Hamas were a democratically elected group originally, they weren't in the form that they are now, which is a terrorist organization. And the concern is that most people don't have the kind of the wherewithal to check these things out, and if you didn't know that Hamas was a terrorist organization, I'm here to tell you that it is.
They definitely are a terrorist organization. They use the same tactics as ISIS. Suicide bombs, rockets, knife intifadas, killing women and children.
Right.
They're terrorists. They're a terrorist organization.
Absolutely.
Israel's at war with.
So that's a great segue into what we're going to talk about next. Swoop and I were talking earlier about the latest Paris attack today. Isn't it sad that we're not surprised by these things anymore?
It is very sad. In the Champs-Élysées area, I actually been there a couple of times in high school, and when I was in the army, it kind of hit me there since I've been there so many times, and it is a sad reality that it's happening way too many more frequently.
Absolutely, and we talked about this at length earlier with regards to a kind of level of response, but your argument is gone for me when you start killing people.
Exactly, and I really wish France, instead of condemning Israel, they need to see Israel and how Israel takes on these terror cells. I mean, basically, this refugee problem does seem like an invasion, and they're just so complacent. That's why these terror attacks are happening, and they need to get involved and get their hands on their asses and do something about it.
Right. So tell me, Swoop, do you think that the influx of refugees into Europe has made a difference to the increase in the frequency of these terror attacks?
I don't know. But you have to find out who the perpetrators are. If the
right.
perpetrators were part of the refugees, and we won't know. But the bottom line is that these things are on the rise. You have a new segment in that society who we know are there because they needed to escape, because they needed to be
right.
safe. But we also know there's a big group of those people who've arrived and are committing crimes and assaults and rapes and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's probably an increase in crime, period. Whether or not it's increased in the terrorist act, we have to know who the perpetrator was on each one of these.
Absolutely. And I think the concern is that we come back full circle all the time to the reason why, President Trump has, instituted the travel ban twice now. And that's with regards to how do we vet these people thoroughly enough to not be a risk?
Well, the thing is regardless, even if there are no crimes committed, you still want to vet people who come to your country.
Of course.
You want to make sure that who you're bringing in are people who are going to be productive,
right.
Honest citizens within your community. Regardless, if you let a whole bunch in, nothing changes. You still want to know who they are and whether or not they're overstaying their welcome and why they're here. Absolutely.
Would you agree with that, David?
Absolutely. That is the main problem in Europe right now is there's no vetting system, and President Trump is right on the travel ban, and you said in the right words. Liberal morons are keep going to the Muslim ban, and it's not just a Muslim ban. It's a travel ban,
right?
Because there's a huge identity problem in some of these countries, and I'd rather be in a country that has a strict vetting process than one with open borders.
I would totally agree, and here's an imperative for me that as part of what I want to do with this show. I want to educate people, and I want them to be able to disseminate between your average Muslim and a radical Islamic terrorist, because there's a world of difference between the two. And I get a lot of flack from conservatives by having people on from Muslim groups like, True Islam, etc. But I think it's important for people to see that not all Muslims are terrorists. And the concern is, I totally agree with Bridget Gabriel, and that's that the peaceful majority are irrelevant. And that's a sad thing to say. But it's imperative that as a byproduct of protecting ourselves, we don't treat anybody badly. If you're offended by being vetted by coming into the United States, it is very simple. Don't come here. Silence is golden. Well, we are. We are coming to the end of our time together. I know that might seem a little blunt. I mean, I don't want anyone to be treated badly, and I don't want anybody to be killed regardless of their religion, but we have to find a way of thoroughly vetting people that come in. I just want to address a point very quickly in the live feed. Gina, the best way to reset your router is to unplug the power cord that goes into your wireless router. And yes, Sharon, duct tape is silver and silence is golden. So when you unplug your wireless router and then plug it back in, it resets itself essentially. So if you do have a problem watching the show, try that, and also try making sure that you're using the latest version of Facebook on whatever device you're using. Anybody would think I'm working for frickin' Facebook now? This was a public service announcement on behalf of Facebook. We are out of time. I'm sorry, I get silly sometimes when I'm tired. So David, tell people where they can find you and read more of what you're writing.
Sure, you can find me on Facebook, David Weissman and Alex Murder at David M. Weissman, and I write for Reactionary Times, Real Simon Joe Messina, Politics, and Israel's Voice, which the article that I wrote to the New York Times, if you want to check it out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. Have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
All right, you guys take care.
Take care, David. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, David. Good night, brother.
That was David Weissman from Reactionary Times and several other publications. You can find his contact information on the Xrad Facebook show page for today. Yes, unplug the box from the, not the plug, the power cable that goes into the back of the wireless router. If you pull it out, leave it out for a minute, and push it back in, it will reset. Sorry, Swoop, giving technical advice to the live feed as well. I'm just gonna tie a sweeping like a broom to my butt and clean the floor as well. Tell people, thank you so much for joining us again out of your busy schedule, Swoop. Tell people how they can find you and when they can listen to your show.
Absolutely. It is swoopsworld.com, SWOOPSWORLD.com. And we're on live most Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. And you can find all our information right there on our website.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Swoop. And you have a great weekend, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thanks a lot, Xander. Have a good one. Good night,
Thanks
everybody.
a lot, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye. That was Swoop from Swoop's World. You can check him out at www.swoopsworld.com. On tomorrow's show, my co-host is Tony Lasacco, who was away last week, so we'll be finding about his travels. And our guest is David Wiseman. If you are, once again, I'm going to say this once more before we go. If you do have a problem with the feed or the feed freezes up, it's something we don't have any control over here at the Xrad Show. Unfortunately, it is down to Facebook. So either refresh your page or unplug your wireless router and plug it back in, and it will reset. Thanks to everybody in the live feed. Thanks to Zal. Thanks to Gina. I hope you get sorted out. Thanks to Sharon. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to Stella, who left us because she was having problems too. Thanks to Sadie, who's gone to bed early. Thanks to a new listener, Nancy. Thanks to Shyster, and thanks to everybody who wasn't in the live feed but was watching. We will be back with you tomorrow, same time, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. You can check me out on my website, which is xandergibb.com. You can buy the CD. You can buy the book. You can sign up to my mailing list and keep up to date with everything that's going on. And there are some pictures of me on there, too. The handsome Xander Gibb. Okay, so make sure you check out the website, xandergibb.com. We will be back with you tomorrow. Thanks to everybody that's made today's show possible, especially you. Yes, you. No, you. For listening. I really do love you all, and goodbye.
Yeah.